So we have slichos beginning, and slichos is a time to connect and to do teshuvah and to apologize for all the wrongdoings of the past year. But what does it mean to say slicha to Hashem? What does it mean? What do we want to really achieve during the course of slichas? Which means, I'm going to ask you this question. What would success of slichos and Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Aseret Yemei Tshuva, what would it look like if you achieved success? So, Matzah Yom Kippur ends, and you got to fill in the blank. Anyone? To be what? To be on a high. What does that mean, to be on a high? You want to feel inspired and on a high? Cool. Okay. What else? Peace of mind and connection. Okay. What else? What? Change what? Right? You're doing less bad and more good, hopefully. You're changing. That's the change. Right? Okay, so if that's the case, and this is what I want to get to, how do we get there? What are we supposed to be doing? Ready? It's a whole process we're going to do now. What do you want to do to make that change and to feel that high and to get there? How do you do this? So I know you know exactly how. You wake up in the middle of the night and you go to slichos, and then every morning, you do slichos and you do tshuva and you bang again and again and again all the time, and you eat a lot of different foods and you listen to the shofar and what else and all that. Yeah. Okay. And why do I think that I'm missing something about what should I be doing? Is there something? Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, it's not really supposed to be about going through the emotions.
Right. Through the emotions. So what are those? Now you're old enough to have been doing this enough times in your life. So anyone? How do you do this stuff? Right? So in our parasha, there is a verse, a pasuk, that spells it out for us and what we want to achieve. Here's what it says. Hashem tells, we always read this parasha always right before Rosh Hashanah. Not right before, but the Shabbos before the Shabbos before Rosh Hashanah. That's how we do it. And in it is the Teichacha, in it is all the opposite of blessings, which we want to be mindful of, but we don't want to go into Rosh Hashanah right from that, so we make one more Shabbos in between. So here it says as follows, that you saw, Atem re'isem, Eis kol asher asisi leMitzrayim. Moshe is telling the people, you saw everything that happened to the Egyptians. Hamasais agdoiles asher ro'u einecha. You saw all the miracles that I did with Mitzrayim. Oisos v'amoifsin. You saw with your own eyes. He's talking to the people 40 years after those events. He's saying, you saw. Then he continues and he says, V'loi nosan Hashem lochem lev rodas ve'inayim liros v'oznayim lishmoya ad hayom hazeh. You had no heart to appreciate, to understand. You had no ears, eyes to see, nor ears to hear until today. And that seems contradictory. The second half is contradictory to the first half. First he says, you saw the miracles of Hashem. Then he says, you didn't see up until today. So which one is it? Did you see or didn't you see? Evidently, they're seeing and they're seeing. You could be someone who saw all the miracles of Mitzrayim, of Egypt, and all the wonderful things that happened over there. You know, the 10 plagues, the sea splitting, giving of the Torah, the Mon, wonderful stuff. But you never got to know and to have a relationship with God until today. That is the message before Rosh Hashanah. The message is, are you in an intimate relationship with Hashem? Where is God and what is the meaning to you? And what does it mean to be in a relationship with God? Why would you want it and how do you get there? So let's break it down. What does it mean to be in a relationship with God? Let's start with this. Is there anyone over here in this room who doesn't believe in Hashem? And should we have a discussion about belief in God? Does God exist? Anyone deny that God doesn't exist, and it's fine if you want to. I see 0 hands up. That means either you're embarrassed to say, or I'm going to assume over here that nobody has any doubts about the existence of Hashem. Is that correct? Good. Does that mean you have a connection to God? Ask yourself this question. In Tehillim, in Hallel, we say, Rom al kol goyim Hashem, ala shomayim kevoidoi. Hashem is exalted above all the nations. His glory is on the heavens, on spirituality. What that means is, you want to find Hashem? Where is Hashem? He is removed. Ala shomayim kevoidoi. If you believe in Hashem, just ask yourself, where is Hashem? Is he relevant and present right here? Or is he aloof and above? Because Mika Hashem Elokeinu, who is like Hashem our God, Hamagbihi lo shaves, he's all the way up, but Mashpili liro is bashomayim uva earth. He's up and down equally. And on Rosh Hashanah, the reading is about the story of Avram Avinu. And there we read the following verse. Vayikra Sham Avram b'shem Hashem keil olam. Avram went around letting the world know that keil olam. English, he let them know that, what? God of the world. And what? And also forever. But didn't they know that Avram was God of the world? That Hashem was God of the world? If Avram were to tell you today that Hashem is God of the world, what would you say? I got that memo already. I'm your descendant, remember? I heard that already. So what's the relevance of Avram today? Yes. Now I know there's Hashem. What does that mean? I know there's Hashem. And how do you see that in the actual words? What? Exactly. There's a hey missing over there. It doesn't say the hey. Hashem is not Keil Ha'olam. He's not God of the world. God is the world. When Avram told everyone that Hashem is up there and he's God, they said, we know that. Ramal go goyim Hashem. All the goyim accept that Hashem is above. But we didn't get the memo that Hashem is not above. Avram Hashem Keil Olam. God, world, God. That's the key. Hashem and the world are one and the same. So your avodah, your work, is to not see God as removed, but rather to feel His presence every step, every moment, to feel the presence of God in your life. Let's try an example. So let's say you can't pay your rent and your parents aren't helping you. So you have to pay $548 this month and you don't got the money. So what do? You're lacking. So of course you know there's Hashem, and you turn to Hashem and say, Hashem, help me. Right? And you know Hashem's going to help you because you believe in Hashem and you have bitachon. You trust in Him. But how do you feel meantime? Are you anxious? Are you worried about getting the money? Where's your bitachon? And you say, well, I'm anxious because I'm anxious. I'm a human being. What do you want me to do? I'm feeling anxious. I still believe Hashem is going to give me the money. But I'm anxious. That's called Ramal Kol Goyim Hashem. You see how Hashem is removed from you. You don't actually feel His presence in your life. You feel that it'll be good, but I don't feel the goodness of Hashem right now. But we say, tracht gut, wird sein gut. And for somehow we translate that as think. What's tracht gut? Think that. What? What does it mean think good? Think that. What? Most of us think that it's going to be good, and then it'll be good. But then it will say, tracht es wird sein gut, wird sein gut. It's tracht gut. Think how awesome and amazing and incredible and unbelievable everything is right now. I'm so excited. I can't pay my rent. I'm being kicked out. Like amazing. I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling Hashem's presence right now. Wow. You're like, yeah, right. I don't feel God's presence right now. I feel a disaster right now. That's the shift from feeling that God is removed to feeling His relevance in your life right now. Now, how do you feel if Hashem were in your life right now? So we have a pasuk which we say every single morning before Baruch She'amar. We say, Elikim Yechaninu V'Yivrachenu Yo'er Panav Itanu Selah. Hashem will be gracious and bench us. Yo'er Panav Itanu Selah. Let's dissect that pasuk. Incidentally, we are learning now a maimer from Likutei Torah, Parshas Kisavai, and the maimer is called the last maimer in Kisavai. Whatever I'm telling you, I hope is written there. Look it up. So, Yo'er Panav Itanu Selah means Hashem will illuminate His face with us forever. What's Yo'er Panav? Have you ever seen someone whose panim are me'irois, are beaming? What does a beaming face look like? You see a beaming face? Where someone's just like, wow, their whole face is just absolutely shining. What does a beaming face elicit as a response by you? A smile. Last year by Tashlich, Rosh Hashanah, so my little baby was 1, and we took her to Tashlich in the carriage. So we got into the carriage. We walked to the bay, which is a half-hour walk. Took us about close to an hour because we had blowing shofar for people on the way. So we walked the whole family together, and she falls asleep as soon as we get into the carriage. So she fell asleep in Brooklyn, meaning you look around and there's such a gorgeous view in Brooklyn. Like you see the concrete house over there, and more concrete over there, and more concrete behind, and some more. It's just beautiful. It's like stunning views. And babies, they they want space. Like, let me run around. And she falls asleep like, oh, whatever. When she woke up an hour later, it's like literally as we arrived at the ocean, which is not that far away, she wakes up and she looks around and she's like, what? She couldn't believe it. It was such an amazing moment. It's like she looked around, her face was like shining. She was like a beaming face, that's a beaming face. A little 1-year-old. She was like jumping for joy. She couldn't believe it. She's like, air, ocean, sea. And she was like, I looked at her face and I was like, wow, what an experience. Because you know what I wanted to do the next day? I wanted to go on Tashlich again. To see that face. And then I'm realizing in Rosh Hashanah we say the pasuk from Yirmiyahu, which we say in Zichronis, and then we say the next day in Haftarah, Havein yakir li Ephraim im yeled sha'ashuim. What a precious child Ephraim is to me. A delight. Sha'ashuim is a delightful boy. Ki midei dabri boy. Whenever I speak about him, Zocher es Kerenoi, I keep on remembering him. Alkein homu meyailoi. Therefore, my kishkes are yearning for him. When a baby presents that stunning, beautiful, beaming face to her father, she has him wrapped around her little pinky up. You can do anything. Because, it's just such a joy. So now let's look at the analogy. That's what we are to Hashem. Now, if she has a sour face, I still love her. She's still my baby. But she's got a sour face. So it just doesn't elicit the same response from me. I'm not trying to do anything negative. I just don't have the same response when she has that beaming face. Think about it this way. We want Hashem's face to shine at us Yo'er Ponov, his face should be shining to us. What's the key to a shining face? Yo'er Ponov, Itono. Selah. Hashem says, if you feel it, Kamayim aponim laponim kin leba adam el adam, when you feel it, I'll elicit a response back. Want to get pnimius from Hashem? Want to get Hashem's internal? Give him yours. And then the two combine. And what do you have? You have the most powerful, incredible connection that's built. Here's the problem. The problem is that there's only one way to have a face shine. And that is, you can't put on makeup to make a face shine. It's either shining or it's not. You know when a face shines? When you feel inside elated. So what happens when you don't feel elated? You can't make your face shine. In other words, you can't fake this. If you want to elicit the power of godliness, of elikus, the only way to get that is by feeling elikus in your life. If you feel it, you get it. You get a response back. So, have you ever seen electricity? You know what electricity looks like anywhere? No, you don't. You can't see electricity. But do you know electricity exists? How do you know it exists? You feel the result of electricity. And then you know it exists. Right? You don't see the electricity, but you clearly see what electricity does. You can't see elikus. You can't see godliness. But if you plug it in, and whatever appliance it is, it'll start working. So if you want the power of Elokus, of the Eibishter, in your life, you've got to plug it in, and then you'll see an amazing, godly, divine power like you've never seen before. How do you plug it in? Yoyer Ponov, Itono, Selah. So if you want Hashem's beaming face and his penimius, you've got to give him yours. Right? So maybe you can't see the lokus, but you can see the result of it. And then lodas ba'oretz darkecha, you'll know Hashem's ways on planet Earth. It's mind-boggling what can happen when Eibishter is revealed in your life. So the way we look at Hashem is we're like, Hashem, it doesn't make a difference. I'm frustrated. Okay, so I'm frustrated. You're telling me, Hashem, because I'm frustrated, you're not going to give me? You're like, no, I want to give you. I really want to give you. But the way you're looking at me is that Ramal Kol Goyim Hashem. We're like, Hashem, okay, I'm frustrated, but you know I'm a human being and whatever, so just give me anyway. You see how you're saying Ramal Kol Goyim Hashem? You're saying Hashem is above. Just do it. You can make it happen anyway. You can do it. Elokus, godliness, responds to you. That's Hashem's gift to you. He gives you when you elicit his power. And what we want to learn is how to elicit the power of the divine. So this time of year comes along, and what do? We learn how to find that connection to Hashem. This week we had a Fabrein with Rabbi Shalom Cherubashkin. And I brought him out first time, that we actually brought him out to Shul Fabrein. It was phenomenal. He's like, he's telling, like, everyone knows the story. And just like to hear it and to hear the whole breakdown of how things were going is just phenomenal. So they asked him, like, hey, it's wonderful. The end of the story is great. But 8.5 years, it was going down, 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 down. That's how it was going. The story is, the last 10 minutes of the story blew your mind. But only the last 10 minutes. It's an 8.5 year story with 10 minutes which changed the whole world. Like, do you remember where you were when he was released? Most people remember. Remember where you were in 9/11? Didn't think so. Okay, but the same thing. Right. It's the same thing, right? It was a very powerful, incredible moment. So they're like, okay, how did you feel when the judge said, you know, Machshefa that she was, she said the prosecution requested 25 years. And she said, not 25, but 27 years, just to spite you. And no bail. So you got to understand, I had absolute bitachon. I knew I didn't do anything wrong. In fact, everything I did is today a mitzvah. Because it was, he says, tshuva, like changed everything. Because when I started out, it was like one of the reasons, the main things I did wrong was, hiring illegal immigrants. Today, like, what do you mean? You're supposed to hire illegal immigrants. You have to, the more illegal, the better it is. But back in that time, it was a crime. So he says, okay, so I know I didn't do anything wrong, and I have complete bitach and complete trust in Hashem. So I knew that no matter what, I had no doubt I was coming home to my family. And she says 27 years. And not just 27 years, she says 27 years and no bail. And because you're over a certain amount of time, you get put in with murderers. Murderers get less time than me. It's like, so everything I believed in came crashing down. Then I enter into prison. So he says, the first night I'm in the cell, and I can't believe it. I'm in a daze. Like, my bitachon has gone down the drain. And I'm fighting hard to keep some measure of normalcy. So the first night, and it's amazing because I remember this email, when he sent the email about the story. I remember the story when he actually sent the email. And then I thought, like, wow, he really believes. And now I hear the story at the end of it. He says, and I come into prison, and the guard tells me, okay, take off your clothing, and then put on the prisoner clothing. He's like, well, the Purim clothing. And I'm putting on the Purim clothing, and he says, no, take that off also. The yarmulke and tzitzis, everything. I said, no, this is religious. You don't take it off. He says, no, this is prison. He says, no, I'm not taking it off. So the guard calls me over. He says, buddy, over here, you listen to me. And he says, and those words were the most powerful words ever. Because until then, I didn't chap what was going on. The second he used the word buddy, he says, I felt my antennas rise. Like, buddy, that's what the Yetzer Hara calls you. He becomes your friend. And then he says, take off your yarmulke and take off your tzitzis. He says, I'm not taking off my yarmulke and tzitzis. And then he threw me into this cage. Literally, I'm in a cage. Solitary confinement. And it's November time, it's freezing cold in South Dakota. And I got this piece of a cement slab to sit on. And it was so cold, we couldn't do anything. And now I'm like, just every fiber of my being is being ignited. Oh, now I'm here at least for like, I'm fighting for Yiddishkeit. And I wasn't fighting because of American rights. I was fighting because you don't take off my yarmulke and tzitzis. So the guy called up a chaplain. He says, I don't know what the chaplain was, but the guy came back and he's reading me my Bill of Rights. And he says that the chaplain said that it's not such a big thing to take off your yarmulke and tzitzis. That you don't have to wear it. And he wrote, and this guy is reading it, Dina de Malchusa Dina. From the rabbi. He says, so now I'm really, And at that point, he's like, that changed my whole thing. Then I realized that this is a fight for God. And so he's like, I went through that the Rebbe Rayat said that my body is able to go out to exile, but not my soul. And from that moment on, I was able to endure. And so even though things went from bad to worse and worse and worse, my bitachon stayed. My connection to Hashem stayed. Now, you get the end of the story, right? Had he gone free at that moment, what would have happened? Nothing. It would have been a waste. Because it took 8.5 years, and then I'm like, wow. He essentially, the bitachon of one Jew in prison, brought about the most incredible change in no less than the President of the United States. The most unexpected president became president. And We got a few perks on the side, where he put the embassy in Yerushalayim and he tore the Iran deal and put the recognition of the Golan. A lot of good stuff that happened on the way. But then one day the president, in this incredible moment, announces he's free. And then he doesn't have any bureaucracy. So 10 minutes later, he was free. It was like, everyone, okay, if you say free, fine. Another 6 months of, of procedures. No, free is free now. And I walked out of prison. And everyone remembers that moment. That was the most incredible moment. That's what you get when you elicit the power of the divine, the power of Elokus in your life. There's only one way to actually elicit that and to get there, and that is if every step of the way, even when it's going, the tide is completely against you, you don't say you feel connected to Hashem, because Hashem, that's what makes him Hashem, that he really gets what's happening inside you. And so if you want to get it, what you want to do is elicit the power from inside. So what do we say tomorrow in slichos? When we start the slichos process, we say a verse from Daniel. Elokai, my God, boishti v'nichlamti lehorim elokai ponai elecha. I'm embarrassed and disgraced from picking up ponai, my face, to you. What does that mean? What it means is, this is not about, oh God, I'm scared to be punished. This is me saying to Hashem, Hashem, I'm embarrassed. I fell. I'm disconnected. I don't know how to feel a relationship and to feel you. Because when people insult me, I get insulted. And when I have no money, I feel anxious. And I got this whole mental health problem taking place inside me. And I don't know how to be connected to you. So what is the avodah, the work of this time of year? It's to focus on the distance from Hashem, to focus on what Hashem is and the distance of where I am. But the goal is not the distance, the goal is the reconnect. So the more I feel the distance from Hashem, the more I realize how much I want to be connected. So Yo'er Ponov is his pnimius. I should feel an internal connection to Hashem, iton. It only works when I actually feel it. But meantime, and why is that? Because our aveiros, our wrongdoings, are over our head. What's the problem with doing an aveira? Well, you say, well, the problem is that God's going to punish you. Yeah, that's the Ramal Kol Goyim Hashem. That's the judgmental God. God who's above, and he's judging me, and he's telling me I'm going to punish you for doing this. No, let's not look at God that way. Let's look at God as our God. And that's the Keil Olam. So what does it mean? It means that Hashem is telling you these things, the 365 negatives, if you do them, you're standing on your own respiratory tube. You're blocking your oxygen. You're blocking your ability to appreciate and experience the pnimius of Hashem. And you don't want to do that. You want to feel God. It's like, why would you want to not feel Hashem in your life? And so, in davening we say, and also in slichos, Af gam zois b'yoisem meretz eveim. No matter what, even though you were in the enemy's territory, Loi me'astim v'loi ge'altim, I didn't despise you, I didn't let you go, lechaloisam. What's lechaloisam? Simply means to finish them off. But lechaloisam sounds like when you get married, what do you get called? A kala. We are kala to Hashem. So no matter where they are, I didn't despise them. Lechaloisam. They're still able to experience a yearning for God. No matter how distant you are from Hashem, you can experience the being of a kala to Hashem. If you successfully achieve the Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur goals, the slichos goals, what do you get? A relationship with Hashem. It's absolutely incredible. You get a relationship with God of a yearning for Hashem. What that means is that things happen to you, you feel the worry, you feel insulted, you feel anxious, you don't deny that you feel that, you do feel that, and then you say, Keil Olam. You don't say Hashem is above. You say, no, Hashem is right here. I feel the presence of God in this moment. And the more you say that, and saying is not good enough, it's feeling. The more you feel that, the more you elicit the power of the divine. So that's what it means, that you saw Hashem. Yeah, I know you saw Hashem. Of course you know Hashem. Everyone believes in Hashem. But did you feel Hashem? Did you get to really, really, really experience the hand of God? So let me share with you something which is unbelievable. One day I'll share with you the full story, but here's the brief version. Like the hand of God, where you see the hand of God. This past year, I saw the hand of God in a way I don't think I've ever in my life seen. Something like this. It just blew me away. When Elokus is revealed, it's unbelievable. So basically, in a nutshell, the story is like this. 7 months ago, I wanted to open up a yeshiva. I'm a sifta. And how do you open up a yeshiva? So everyone's telling me, you'll never get bochrim. And, I said, I have one bocher because I want it for my son, who's now a 9th grader. I said, I'll open it for him. But you never get bochrim because nobody goes to the first year. And how are you going to find people to run it who are good enough? And then where's it going to be? And how are you going to find the money? And what are you going to, how do you just do it? So forget it. So I'm like, okay, no, one step forward at a time. I don't need to know the answer, right? I'm going to plug myself into God, and then electricity is going to flow. So how do you plug yourself in? Okay, I felt I want a yeshiva. So the best way to do it is send out a video. So I made a video. It came out to be 90 seconds. And I sent it out. And amazing, it became viral amongst all the 8th grade parents. And I told them I have a dream, I want to make a yeshiva, a different type, here's why I want to do it, self-esteem, to kids, and whatever. I explained in a nutshell why I think it's so critical. And it was amazing. I got 40 people signed up to the yeshiva. And then none of them actually came in here. But 40 people signed up. And they asked me, where is the yeshiva going to be? And I'm like, Metro New York. I have no clue. I don't know where it's going to be. I don't have anything. Then one person in Pomona who I know, she saw it, and she says, I have a son coming up in a couple of years, so I want this yeshiva to be here. I said, great, amazing. Let's do it. Find a house. Find a house means, and you pay for it, in secret code. So she found the house and said, come on, that doesn't look like a nice house. So the second house she saw available was a house which was for sale. And I said, that's a house. If you put a Masifta in that house, everyone's coming. It looks gorgeous. Then we found out that the house is already in contract. Someone bought it. So no problem. She went over to the guy and she asked him, would you like to sell it to us? He said, sure. $1.3 million. I'm like, okay, great. Where do you get $1.3 million? No idea. But I'll rent it to you. Okay, rent. How much rent do you want? He tells me he wants $11,000 a month. I said, great. Where's that coming from? And it's 6 months ago, so I'm going to lock it in for 6 months. So he said, how much do you want to pay? I said, I want to pay you $5,000 a month. I don't know where that's coming from, and I want to pay it from September. So hold it for me for 6 months and $5,000. So he told the broker, he says, this guy's Meshuggah. I do charity, but not charity or either charity or business. I didn't know the guy. So the broker told me, if it's either charity or business, why don't you just do charity? So he says, okay, fine. I'll give him the house for free. So now we have a house for free. And that was like, I was blown away. It's like so incredible. Like Hashem is with us. It was like unbelievable. I was so excited. And so we put up on COL and everywhere, we put up an article opening up a yeshiva. And this picture, and I hired a guy. I'm not sure why he took the job, but he took the job without being a yeshiva, and now he's got the job. So, okay, and now we're starting to get kids to register. So the first few weeks, not one kid registered. Nobody was interested. Then, I don't know how, but I had no doubt that it would be fine. Okay. The yeshiva filled up. I'm telling you the story in a nutshell. There's lots more to it. But the yeshiva filled up. It filled up so much, we have a top kids, and we had to send kids away because we were too full. Anyway, no sooner had we posted the article online, right, that if you look for the article now, you won't find it, because I basically called up every single website after the thing when we were full, and I asked them to take it down. Why? Because there's this Lubavitcher guy, and I knew about him, and I thought he would for sure be our best friend, because he's on the Pomona Village Council. But a good guy with a long beard and Hasidic guy, he's going to help us. He walked over to the guy who gave the house for free, the person who got them to give it, and every single person over there involved, and he told them that don't open this place. The day you open it, I'm going to shut it down. It's illegal. We're not having any yeshivas over there. He showed them the law. It's not happening. So go somewhere else. I'm being nice to you. I'm telling you now where to go because it's good for you. I couldn't believe it. Like the miracle of this thing was crazy. And no one tell any parents, but because what am I going to tell them? No one's going to come. So kids are one thing leads to another, and yeah, I know. And I don't know what to do. So I'm honestly, every time I felt like this really anxious experience, and then one parent found out, and they called me up, and they're like, "What are you thinking? Like, you can't open up in these villages, and it's not going to happen." And I said, "Don't worry, Hashem is going to take care of everything. Nothing to fear." Then I got a call from these guys. They shut him down. I got a call from the guy who gave us the house. A guy from here. He bought a house over there. He says to me, he says, that. I mean, I don't mind, but the guy told me it's a $1,000 a day fine on my house. I lien in my house. As long as you're paying that, it's fine. I said, okay, he's giving us house for free, but there's a $1,000 lien on the house every day, and I'm feeling my anxieties big time. Then this other guy comes over to him. He came over to the guy. The guy told him, listen here. He says, I'm not Chabad, and you are. But let me tell you, you're opening, closing down this yeshiva. You're having a milchama, you're having a war with the Rebbe and the Frierdiker Rebbe and the Rebbe Rashab, all the way back to the Alter Rebbe. And the funny part about it is that this is like communist Russia, and I am telling this to a Lubavitcher. And then he shut down he blocked him on WhatsApp, and So one day, someone broke a conversation between me and this guy. And he told me, okay, I'll get you on the phone with him. So I got on the phone, and he told me this on, I think it was like Tuesday night, and he told me tomorrow, Wednesday, 4:45, I'll get on the phone. When he told it to me at 6:30 on Tuesday, I felt my anxiety rise to a level of, I don't know if I've ever had that before. I was so mad at him, like, wow, how could you even think about doing this? Like, you're supposed to be helping. And then why do I have to go even get involved in this whole part? I've got enough problems. This is the problem I'm going to deal with now. I let all the anxiety run. See, that's the key. I'm not denying that I feel anxiety. I feel it big time. But I'm letting it run straight through, and I'm saying Hashem is here. Hashem is with me. You see the difference? Kael oilam, there's anxiety, and I know Hashem is taking care of me. I was having sleepless nights. At night, I was like, waking up in a cold sweat. And then I says, throw yourself at Hashem. Hashem is taking care of this. And I allowed myself to feel absolutely relaxed. The next day when I made the call to him, I felt anxiety 24 hours, the whole thing. The time I made the call was a beautiful call, calm, cool, collected. 45 minutes first, I asked him to tell me why you're doing this. I summarized for him why he's doing it, the big stupidity, why he wanted to shut it down. I said it to him exactly in a very nonchalant way. I told him my way. We were on the phone for an hour and a half. It was a beautiful conversation, and nothing changed. Gimel Tam was 2 months ago. I was by the oil for Shabbos, and I finished davening Musaf, and there's like 1,000 people in the tent, and I see him on the other side. I'm like, "You here for the oil and Shabbos?" Yeah. Go in when you write to the rabbi. Just tell him that you're shutting down his yeshiva. That's what I wanted to tell him, but I didn't. I was just sitting over there, and I let this anxiety run through me. I was busy doing Rambam off the missiles, and my son next to me says, "Are you having a heart attack?" Because the whole time I'm feeling my heart there, and I was like, "No, I'm feeling very, very, very stressed." And after an hour, literally an hour, he was there. I went over to him. I said, "Shalom Aleichem." I said, "Listen, when this yeshiva opens, you and I are going to make the biggest." It was calm, biggest l'chaim together. There's no doubt. We're going to make l'chaim and a fabrengen together. He says, "Yeah, I'm going to fabrengen, whatever, great, yeah." Anyway, that was Gimel Tammuz. In between, what happened was, like, want to see the power of Hashem when He comes down? So I was actually with Rabbi Rubashkin at that time, and we fabrengen on Shabbos in the country, and he told me, he said, "You got to have bitachon, and Hashem will take care of it. It'll be fine." I was like, "Okay." So he asked me this week, what happened? Here's what happened. So impossible that there are no schools that become available. 3 miles from where we were, there was a yeshiva which had a 5-acre property ready to go, and the yeshiva decided to close down. Sephardi yeshiva, they're moving out, and they're selling. First, they were selling for $6 million. When I heard that price, I had another one of my panic attacks. And I let it go. I said, Hashem is here. It's fine. Then I went to South Africa. When I was there, there's this guy in Pomona who he called me up before. He told me, you're destroying the whole Pomona. Because half of them are with you, half are against you. You can't do this. You're living in Brooklyn, destroying Pomona. I said, "It's not my fault. What do you want me to do?" He went over to them. He brokered a deal. And he got them to sell it for like dirt cheap, for $4.7 million. And he did it. So while I was in South Africa, this guy who had gotten me the house in the first place, who's not, I don't know why he did it. He told me, I don't know why I'm doing this for you. But he says, let me see where you are. And I show him I'm in South Africa. And he says to me, you look where I am. And he's walking around the property. And what he did was he put the property into contract. Then he told me you have a week to come up with $500,000. I didn't. He just filled up the rest of the price. And I don't know how I got the rest of the money. Absolute miracles. And we put $500,000 down. And then went into contract. And it was just like absolutely incredible. And before we went into contract, he already changed the whole place. He himself changed the floors and whatever. And suddenly we have this, like, literally came down from heaven, a building ready-made, like gorgeous, as if we've been in business for 25 years already. And it's just absolutely miraculous. And then we made, and I had taken down from all the websites that we exist, because I don't want anyone to know that we exist, because this guy is like, going to shut us down. So the day before, Shai the Shell, 2 weeks ago, we're making an event. And I'm like, okay, so one of the parents calls me up and says, you've got to make an event tomorrow, you're opening up the yeshiva. Parents didn't have a clue what happened. They didn't even realize so we moved to this location. Oh, very nice. Yeah. And so we're making up a beautiful event. So I called before the event. I decided, you know what? Let's do it. I called this guy up. I said, I want you to know that there's no way in the world that this yeshiva would have happened without you. So honest thank you. Now I feel absolute thanks to him. And I invited him. And we put a beautiful article up on COL. You can see it. And there he is. Doesn't say the story, but you'll figure out if you want. And there he is. Me and him made a beautiful l'chaim. We had no mashke, we had water, but we made a l'chaim. And we celebrated together the opening up of a yeshiva. Because you see what the anxiety was? It wasn't him. It was the Abish that wanted us to go buy a brand new place. And there's no way to do that without injecting this crazy energy into it. And so all you need to do is chap that comes from Hashem. So I thought the whole time he's to blame. It wasn't him. It was the Eibishter sending an energy down to say, go buy the building. It's not over the story, by the way. The guy told me 45 days from when you signed, which is about 24 days from now, to come up with another $1.2 million, or we lose the first $5 million. So this is a story in the making. I don't know what's happening with the next part. I've got a lot of anxieties about that too, and I'm working them as we go along. But yes, you draw Elokus down. So here's what it means. There's you knew God, but you didn't know God. I had no clue that Hashem could make it from one thing to another, like suddenly a yeshiva rains down. But that's what happens when you listen to the power of Elokus. You get to know Hashem in this world in a way you never dreamed possible. The key is to feel Hashem's presence. And so every time you have that anxiety, you want to bring it down and feel God's presence. Feel His presence, and you elicit His power. You'll be shocked at what the Eibishter can produce for you. So that's the avodah this time of year. Esponecho Hashem avakesh. I want to feel the panemius of Hashem. I want to experience you. How do you get there? You got to plug in, like electricity. You got to plug it in. How do you plug it in? It happens right here in the heart. It's how you feel about the Eibishter. The more you work it, doesn't mean not to feel the anxiety. You feel it, and then you feel Hashem is with you. As you do that, and you switch and you keep on changing, the Eibishter gets revealed in your life.